Thanks to the Democrats, we are going to get 87,000 new IRS agents. And what this means is, well, hundreds of thousands of additional IRS audits. Now, the Democrats would like us to believe, Biden would like us to believe that these IRS agents are really focused on rich people, people who are multimillionaires or billionaires. And but there aren't enough of those people to warrant 87,000 new agents. You could probably have 5,000 new agents and make sure that every rich person in the country had oversight in terms of their tax returns. The 87,000 agents, the Democrats really went overboard here. And in a way, they're sending a message. And, you know, we have to be attentive to these messages, because if we're too dumb to realize what they're doing, what they're basically saying is that the IRS is the collection agency for the socialist or quasi-socialist state. The IRS is the enforcer. I'm going to argue, the shakedown artist, the ransom collector. And now, admittedly, I'm going to get some pushback from people who go, wait a minute, Dinesh, how is an audit really a shakedown? Aren't these guys merely making sure that you follow the law? Again, as with the criminal justice system, in practice, it doesn't really work that way. In practice, audits are not sort of fair assessments of what you owe. And part of this, and the same applies, by the way, with the criminal law, is the unbelievable complexity of the tax code. And what that means is there's enormous amounts of discretion to hound people, harass them, subject them to all kinds of delays and expenses, and then make them pay just to make the process come to an end. There's also, of course, the political machinations that go into this. I don't know if you've ever seen, if not, it's worth looking it up. Just kind of search it on the internet. Catherine Engelbrecht's testimony in 2014 of the way in which she was harassed by the IRS, primarily by the IRS, but also by a whole alphabet soup of other government agencies. And what they do is they sort of demand to know everything. Oh, you've got this income into your nonprofit group. Okay, well, give us a list of your donors. Do you do speaking events? Give us a list of all your speaking events, where you went, and what were the travel costs, and how many people attended each event, and who are the names of all the organizers. So think about this. What does this really have to do with anything? This is the IRS essentially engaging in a kind of hazing to break down your resistance so you kind of succumb to them. And what they're trying to do in this case is, in Catherine's case, is scare her away from the issue of voter integrity. That was their, in a sense, I would say, assigned task by the Obama administration. I've only been audited once, Debbie and I, for our 2016. This is actually the year we got married. And it was a ridiculous process, because essentially what they did is they got copies of all our bank accounts. They found every deposit, including transfers from one account to another, and they treat it as income. And then they put the burden on you to sort of collect all the resources and all the documentation to explain why it's not income. You have to show this. And then they go, we calculate that you owe us X dollars. And so I talked to my accountant, and he's like, listen, if you are able to and you pay this amount, the whole thing just ends, because this is really a shakedown operation. Their job is to try to extract money out of you. And so that's the game. Now, you can play the game, but it's a little bit of a losing game, because they can always extend the process. Let's remember, they have almost infinite resources. By and large, if you take the matter to tax court, you've got judges who themselves have come up through the IRS system, if you will. They're captive to the mechanism of collecting money for the state. And so by and large, they tend to defer to the IRS. So it is a process that is not transparent or fair, in my opinion. And here's an article. This is actually a fellow named Steve Martini. and he's describing his audit from just a couple of years ago. He says basically he had a best-selling book. He went out and bought a boat, and it was the boat that was, he says, the red flag to the IRS. So they start harassing him. He says, I didn't take the boat as a business expense, but the boat to the IRS symbolized luxury. And so they began to badger him about his income. And when he provides his income, they go, well, let's look at the previous year. Let's look at the year before that. So when they don't get you on something, they kind of continue the search. You can see how this is happening in other areas with Trump. Can't get him on Russia collusion. Let's get him on something else. And similarly, this Martini fellow talks to his attorney and he goes, listen, do I fight them? This is so crazy. And I'm now quoting the attorney. The attorney goes, no, absolutely not. Don't fight them. Basically goes, if you hire a lawyer, the IRS will now start looking for reasons to go after you criminally for tax fraud. Even if there's no evidence, they will chase you for 2 years. Then they might drop the matter, but then you're going to owe $200,000 to the accountant and the attorney. And so, in a sense, you will have paid your ransom that way. So why not pay the ransom to them? Let the matter go away, and then try to avoid their scrutiny in the future. This is how audits actually take place, and so this kind of new horde of IRS agents is not good news. It's not about Americans paying their fair share or even their lawful share of taxes. It's about an aggressive agency with not just prosecutorial power, but militarized forces that they now have at their disposal, basically shaking you down for whatever they can get out of you.